Alright, so we have had some major issues, but now we seem to be okay on the stream. Just a huge technical failure, unfortunately. It started off as just a small connection hiccup, but expanded from there. Either way, we seem to be okay now. We're inside the draft. As you guys can see on the stream, it has been going on forward with the phase here for the draft, and picks and bans have already gone out just a little bit. Anyways, sorry about the issues here. Once again, this is a Beyond the Summit presentation between Tongfu and MiTH. It's a best of 3, part of the quarterfinals of the AMD Premier League. I myself am Blaze, joined here by Lysander Zenora. How's it going, man? And some more technical issues. Sweet.
10 seconds
Always
remaining.
look thrilled. There we go. I think we got him back. Are you there, man?
Remaining.
Looks like that's not the case.
Reserve time.
Okay. Well then.
Dire team back.
No big deal. Just going to proceed on solo until we get the Skype chat worked out so I can communicate with him directly. But pretty much what we're looking at here is going to be these two teams going up against one another. Again, a best of 3 series, just game 1 here. Hopefully we won't have too much as far as the technical stuff for the remainder of the games. But yeah, starting off right now, getting a call from him. We'll get that there. You there, man? Looks like we're still not getting the Skype call going through, unfortunately. Anyways, what I'm currently looking at, we do see the ban of the Batrider, Lifestealer, Bane, Darkseer, and the Shadow Shaman. As far as picks, we have the Dragon Knight, Rubik, Anti-Mage, and Sand King. The bans also Shadow Demon, Nyx Assassin, Leshrac, Jakiro, and Nature's Prophet from Tongfu. And they're going to pick up a lineup of Magnus, Gyrocopter, Clockwork, Keeper of the Light, and Sven. So a lot of AoE wombo combo potential with that RP, the Gyrocopter, and Sven doing some AoE damage there. And I think I hear you, man. Lysander, are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Alright, sorry about all these technical issues. It looks like everything's okay on the stream now, if not a little bit lower in quality. But anyways, sorry about all that technical stuff. A little bit defunct there. But obviously you've been kind of prepared looking at the draft. What do you think of it so far, man?
So you guys can hear me, right?
Yep, you're all good.
10 seconds remaining.
Okay, yeah. So, well, Tongfu gets a Magnus, which is not exactly the best, because if all those guys that watch me on stream, they will know that I hate having Magnus on the draft. So, yeah. MiTH is giving away the Magnus and first picking a Dragon Knight, so I'm not really sure it's the best trade-off here. Dragon Knight could be picked up as a 3rd or even a 4th, because not usually the heroes we see banned out, but of course Dragon Knight does get banned often in the 4th and 5th picks, but the 3rd and 2nd, no, not likely. So giving the Magnus away is kind of a waste, I think.
Absolutely. So, yeah, in this position, now Tongfu has an extremely strong draft set up for them. If the Magnus does okay in the mid and gets an early Blink Dagger, it's going to be devastating for MiTH because they already have the AoE damage to follow it up, Gyrocopter's Flat Cannon, later on Sven's Great Cleave, and the Keeper Light has a pretty good Illuminate too. So all that damage is going to come into one very, very quick circle, and the big thing for MiTH is how well they can split push. Dragon Knight, with his green Elder Form Dragon, will be able to corrosive down the towers relatively quickly, and Anti-Mage with a Battle Fury can actually split push pretty well at the same time. So until they get their own teamfight presence with a Blink Dagger possibly on Sand King, they're going to have to go for a pick-off and a split push type play. That not exactly anything very direct there. But anyways. So
yeah, go on.
So what we're looking at here, obviously getting on into the game. Do you want to talk about these two teams, the matchup here, MiTH versus Tongfu? Any thoughts on them?
Well, like I said before the game, I did mention a couple of times in chat, I'm a little worried about MiTH. They haven't been performing really well, and if I'm not wrong, they played in Tides Raft, the Australian tournament, and they didn't do too well in the grand finals either. Tongfu, of course, Chinese team, and Chinese teams, this team especially, known very well for their aggression. I don't really watch a lot of Chinese Dota apart from the top teams like IG and LGD, but I know Tongfu is pretty good. Not up to standard of LGD or IG, but definitely up there. And MiTH, like I said, underperforming, so not so sure if they can actually take this game, especially since they do pick a split pushing lineup, but actually omit the Kotal from their draft. So I feel it feels quite weird that MiTH opt for the Dragon Knight over Kotal as well as Magnus.
Absolutely. So it's definitely a weird draft the way it plays itself out. As far as lanes go, do you think, the Dragon Knight looks like he's going to be going on mid, considering the 3 branches in a single tango, as that seems to be their intention there with SD. And of course, they do have a pretty good tri lane going on. It looks like a couple of connection issues for themselves. But as far as offlane, it's just going to be the Windrunner down there. How do you think she'll fare up against what's in store for her?
Well, if she does go against, if she does go against an offlane clock, she will be okay because she's ranged for obvious reasons. She will be okay so long she doesn't get caught out. If she does go against the tri lane, which appears to be quite strange right now, it looks like to be a support Seven, with the Kotal giving him the mana constantly. So if he if the winner gets caught out by the Stormbolt, I don't think he's gonna live through that. Plus the Illuminate Blast and the Rocket Barrage. There's gonna be a lot of damage coming his way, so he has to play really careful if he's against the tri lane. If it's against the Clockwork, I guess he'll do fairly well, and we'll get some items as well as levels up.
Absolutely. So King J is going to be picking up the Magnus. I've seen him around in a lot of really good teams. I mean, he's rotated around a little bit as far as his teams, but in general, everywhere he goes, he puts out a lot of presence on the lane that he goes for. He loves those kind of initiating strength-oriented heroes and put out a lot of damage and disable with them. So I expect him to play at his fullest, and then it just really comes down to who's going to have that follow-up. Right now, Gyrocopter is most likely going to be carrying up, considering how's playing him. Sansheng, you mentioned probably going to be support. We'll have to see his item build-up if he's going to have a full supportive mentality or kind of go for a little bit of semi-carry action of his own. And then, yeah, from there, it just depends on the Clockwork. If it's 1v1 Clockwork versus Windrunner, that Windrunner is going to be having a fine time moving in towards possibly an early mechanism, whereas the tri-lane will be pressed a little bit harder, and maybe that'll be difficult for the anti-mage to find farm. But yeah, we still have a couple of guys disconnected on out, so didn't miss too much as far as all those technical issues. Sorry about those in Dota TV who didn't get any commentary for the draft, but as a whole, we do apologize, just technical issues on my end, and the worst case scenario, we could have at least had Lysander stream it for us. So one way or another, we got the action come to you guys, and hopefully we won't have to deal with that again anytime soon.
Yeah, hopefully we won't have that. And yeah, a little bit, I'm not so sure if you mentioned in the draft, I did miss out a little bit of your draft as well because of the issue, technical issue. But yeah, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but the Magnus as well as event was run quite a while back. It was the flavor of that month. And of course the RP with the Stormbolt and the God Strength Cleave just destroyed everything, and Tongfu have the Illuminate as well as the Gyrocopter's nuke to go in there. So it's a lot of AoE coming the way. But MiTH, I don't think they want to be looking to take team fights, even though they do have a little bit of SK here. But he's going to be more of a ganking style with Rubik. Rubik's going to buy him the space, because Rubik will pick up with the telekinesis, and it's very hard to avoid that because it's an instant pickup. And Sand King will have the time to close the distance and go for the barrel strike. Like I said many times before, that Sand King has a decent level 1 stun. It does more than 2 seconds of stun and does quite decent damage, but has a short range. So he needs a little bit of setup. Same reason why some people pick SD to combo up with that Sand King.
Exactly, kind of the same mentality there, but the added addition of Rubik is that you also get the spell steal towards the mid game, so you have the potential to steal a lot of cool abilities, whether just a simple Storm Bolt or a Call Down, or actually achieving the reverse polarity there. That can be a really powerful steal, and if Mulla's on the ball with that, they can turn teamfights around hardcore, because if you get a reverse polarity on a number of heroes, and then you follow that up with an Epicenter, you have your own kind of wombo combo that's going to be able to devastate things and really make fights happen. And I kind of feel with this kind of greedy dual core pickup of the Dragon Knight and the Anti-Mage, what can be accomplished for MiTH is if they do end up winning a fight, if they turn something around, whether through a good chain up of stuns and positioning or through some really clutch spell steals, either way, if they do win a fight, it's going to be so difficult for Tongfu to come back from it, because the gold gains are going to matter so much more for the Anti-Mage and Dragon Knight than it would for any of the other heroes on Tongfu.
Yeah, although I wouldn't really say it's too greedy a build, because DK, of course, he does have the solo mid to himself for quite a bit of time before Anti-Mage needs the creeps on that side. And of course, DK is going to be pretty decent against Seven. Seven does rely a lot on that physical Gyrocopter as well. So with that high armor, it's going to be able to tank up the front lines, while Anti-Mage does chop up the back lines, kill off the Kotal, maybe even pick off Clockwork or Gyrocopter if they get caught out. Anti-Mage, of course, good at picking off the Kotal in the back lines. If he does try to charge the Illuminate, he can blink there, hit him a few times and drop the Mana Void on him and take him out. So yeah, it's a good counter to the Kotal, apart from Storm Spirit and the usual jumpers.
Absolutely.
So Lakels have to look for the good pickups. You want to run through the teams?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start that off. As far as for what we're seeing out of Tongfu, we are seeing Keeper Light picked up by Banana. Sanshank is going to be running that support as Fen. King J is up on that Magnus. Mu is going to be running the Clockwork, presumably going on the offlane a little bit, or they're going to put him safe and then, of course, run the aggressive try. But that does seem to be the case. All three members of Tongfu heading up towards top, and to finalize their roster there, we do have Hao on that gyrocopter.
Yep, and on MiTH Trust, we have TNK on the Windrunner, going to be off lane. So if it's like what you're saying, the tri-lane up top, then she will be going against the Clockwork, and we're having a better time. And SD going to be under DK, R5 on the Sand King. Anti-Mage going to be played by Lakels, and stand-in Mula going to be on Rubik, like you said, rely on him to pick up those big spells in the team fights.
So, interesting back and forth here. It looks like they've put Mu in the mid position. Would that mean a solo Magnus, perhaps? Like a safe lane Magnus?
Safe lane Magnus against Windrunner. They're already having a little tussle there with the haste rune on King J. Going to be chasing down TNK. He should be fine, I guess. He'll take a lot of damage, but he should be fine.
Yeah, doesn't want to go in too deep there. Of course, there is plenty of potential for retaliation. But yeah, he hasn't chosen his skill yet. If he wants to go for last hits, he can try to go for maybe an empower-oriented build. We see that pretty commonly in a scenario where he feels pressured for the last hits. But more commonly, you just know that he's going to be maxing that shockwave and doing what he can with that. Still putting pressure on the Windrunner. Skills up the Skewer and does force out another Windrun. So Windrunner is not going to have as many spells at her disposal until she gets some actual natural regen up. But either way, she'll have the range advantage. The Stout Shield is going to have to get a lot of blocks for him to actually be able to hold the line in that position. Windrunner will come out on top as far as CS, but that doesn't mean that the Magnus is going to get shut down. King J should still find some farm here and there, and will certainly find enough levels to pick up some early polarity points.
And once he gets his bottle crow starts coming out, I think he'll be fine, especially since Mu might not actually decide to go for the bottle. And I'd like to talk about the solo mid lineup. I think it's very clever from Tongfu because they did guess, like you said, predicted in the draft. They did guess that the DK will be soloing middle, so Mu will be going in the middle lane against him. Mu is of course Clockwork's very good against melee heroes because of the cogs. Gonna push away. You look at SD already out of mana, forced to use a brief fire so as to not waste anything when cogs do come out. And of course even if he does get shot down, Mu will be able to throw out those rocket flares and just get some money and experience as well. So it's same principle as the off lane, except you do it for the middle. But this time you do have the advantage against Dragon Knight. I like to give him the advantage against Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight will have no mana to do anything against him. Dragon Knight won't die, but you won't be getting a lot. And Dragon Knight, like you said, it's a little bit of a greedy lineup. I would say a little bit, not too greedy, because Dragon Knight does have his mid, but you deny him the middle, and he'll find himself snatching farm with anti-mage after a while.
So we'll see how this plays on out. For right now, the Clockwork is going to have a lot of potential to continuously mana burn with the cogs, and that's going to be more and more relevant for limiting how much DK can really not only do push and control the runes, but also when he wants to actually try to go for any burst kills, that he's mostly likely going to be maxing that Breathe Fire, and the fact that he won't have that at his disposal will be limiting as far as his kill potential. By the way, we do seem to have more technical issues. They're going to be restarting whatever system that they're on to get back up and rolling, and then hopefully we'll have that full 5v5 raring to go for a pretty awesome game here. But yeah, right now, who do you favor as far as the draft / laning composition that we're seeing here?
Well, like I said, it's up to MiTH right now to not take the fights, because early game they do have a little bit of fighting power with Sven not being at his prime and Magnus not having his RP just yet. They could take a little bit of laning skirmishes, but afterwards, when all the ultimates are up, with Clock and his hook, with Magnus and his RP, you don't want to be taking fights because it doesn't look good for MiTH. Of course, they could risk it, try to get a very good Epicenter off, and Rubik getting a good steal from Stormbolt, or maybe even a call down. But right now, split push seems to work very well for them. They have the Windrunner, they have the Sand King. Sand King can split push decently well with that Caustic Finale if he does get enough points in it. Dragon Knight, of course, with the Dragon, like you say, is going to burn down the towers. And Anti-Mage, of course, the king of split push.
So yeah, a lot of potential there, but for now it looks like everybody's connecting back on and we will be getting underway. How do you think this anti-mage is going to fare in this tri-lane? The big thing, of course, about the aggressive tri-lane is that they try to put as much pressure out on that carry and put out a lot of damage really, really quickly. Now, as far as Sentry Ward placement, they're unfortunate enough to not be able to take down this dire ward on the lane, which does mean that they will be scouted out and their positioning will be rather apparent. But comparing Hao's farm potential to that of Lakel's on the anti-mage, who do you feel is going to be having the upper hand there?
Well, depending, well, Anti-Mage does need a good start because he wants that Battle Fury as fast as possible. Whereas Gyrocopter, well, I wouldn't say he doesn't need the farm. He can sit back. He does have the choice of Ancient stacking in the later stages with the Flat Cannon, so he can recover better. Whereas if Anti-Mage gets shut down, which he will, which is your question, Stormbolt followed by the Illuminate as well as the Rocket Barrage might not kill him because he's anti-mage, but he will be chased out of the lane. And right now he's at half HP, he has to be really careful. And here comes the Stormbolt. Stormbolt's gonna land.
Big damage
Illuminate, this will
coming
be
out.
first blood. Yep, one cleave and he'll get first blooded. So very dangerous play here coming from Lake Els. Not sure if he was lagging or it was just, well, like I said, the Stormbolt with the Illuminate is a lot of burst damage and anti-mage. Without the spell shield, he's just a creep that can blink.
Yeah.
So he's not really strong in the laning phase at the start, especially.
Yeah, very, very limited here, and of course, that's just those two combined together is going to be painful. And the worst part is that as soon as Banana hits level 3, that Chakra Magic is going to be up so that they can keep on doing that. Right now, just using the Clarities for it, but they're making sure that they're going to have that spell spam up pretty consistently here. And honestly, a Sand King without a neutral pull isn't going to be able to accomplish too much. So it looks like they are going to be able to bring down this Observer Ward and try to unblock it for the 3-minute spawn. But it's already done a little bit of work here, limiting how much experience he's picking up. And you can actually see, because he's chosen not to leech off the lane, he is not even halfway to level 2.
Yep, and well, Lakel's his supports are not going to be very useful. There's a quality of supports that I like to comment about, which I like to call reach. And well, if you look at the Radiant lineup, they do have a lot of reach on their supports, especially Kotl with that long range on that Illuminate. As also Stormbolt having a decent stun range, where Sand King is stuck at a 350. And well, Telekinesis is good, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. It isn't that life-threatening, especially with the counter-aggression coming out of Tongfu, with the Rocket Barrage and the Stormbolt. And of course the Illuminate, just gonna melt supports in the lane, and even Lakel's already pushed back here by the Flat Cannon.
Exactly. So right now, Antimage is going to go for a 1-1-1 build, a little bit of survivability here. The question is whether or not he'll put the points in stats, at least for right now. But the big thing for him is he's going to try to get as much farm as possible. I actually expect him to maybe go Tranquils, just to make sure that he can survive, because right now he's just taking so much harassment that anytime he goes on the lane 75% HP or less, it's going to be very, very dangerous for him because of that big spell combo. We do see the Smoke King coming out mid. Invis-Rune popped off from the DK. He will be able to bottle up to a Dragon Tail, pop it off onto Moo. They'll be able to follow it up with this Telekinesis here, and then will come the Burrow Strike. So really, really moving there, but Moo does get a beautiful Cogs going back down the river. There is no way for them to go back on through here, so he's just going to go right back up the high ground, salving up to make sure that's not going to be an issue. So costing a lot of mana for the Dragonite and a lot of time from the supports to rotate on through.
Yeah, the thing about Rubik, he's picked against Clockwork because he does do really well, because Moo can try hide in the cogs, but Rubik will just take him and throw him out of it, so preventing him from defending. And there was a little bit of fail chain stunning coming off Myth. They could have gone for the triple stun with the pickup, with the Dragon Tail to start off and the Rubik to pick up, and of course the Sand King stun. Could have done a little bit more damage and brought the Sand King up close to Moo. Might have brought him down. Not so sure how that was going to work out, but still better than just let him escape away and losing a lot of health and mana as well to the cogs.
Yeah, exactly. By intentionally and manually placing him further away from the two melee heroes, you made it so that the cogs would not be effective in would be effective in splitting apart the two heroes on top of that. We do still see that Clockwork gets a return solo kill, and that was just through Battery Assault Cog action, so I mean he can just really kind of come on in, Moo versus him, closing the distance. Even with the Dragon Blood up, the armor isn't sufficient there, so we just see that pressure coming out. Well, of course, I was looking up on top tier 1 that we're putting pressure on that, so that does drop down very, very quickly, and making it a little bit more difficult for Locales to find locations of farm, as the jungle does now open up for Tongfu. But yeah, that's two things in favor of them extremely right now, because those solo kills add up very, very quickly. A level 7 Clockwork versus level 5 Dragonite, it's not an easy matchup for STDB, and honestly, Moo can just go for like another hook or a simple Cog Battery Assault, and he can do a lot of damage in this position.
Because Dragonite's out of mana, he can't defend himself, and even if he could, the Battery Assault does. It's already up to level 3, so it's going to deal a lot of burst damage to him, as well as disable as well.
Yeah, so he's just going to go for the bottle, and soon enough, as soon as he clears the creep wave, he will be back up to full, and I think that's a point where you really have to be careful as a Dragonite, because a single hook shot pretty much means your death.
Yep, and you already see the tri-lane getting absolutely stomped on. Tongfu, of course. The Gyrocopter playing so aggressively, not even fearing the rotations from the support. Support's up at level 2. If you guys can check out the hero levels, you can see the entire tri-lane for Myth sitting at the bottom rung of the hero levels. Yeah, Seven and Kotl are of the same level as the anti-mage, so this is not good for you, and the experience in Gold Graph, of course, looking horrible for Myth here. 6 minutes in.
Yeah, exactly. And with King J getting near his arcane boots, already has his reverse polarity open. That is going to be a very, very destructive force. Now, we do see an invisible Dragon Knight with Dragon form up. He's going to go for that long-range Dragon Tail onto Mu here to try to set something up. But unfortunately, yeah, he reveals himself, pops the Dragon Tail. We're going to see Telekinesis, and this time it should latch with the Burst Strike before the cogs come out. And now he can just right-click him down. So good positioning there. Mu will go for a little bit of desperation spells, but in the end, he himself will fall. A couple of hits coming in on the Dragon Knight. Clockwork buys back. He's going to TP on in. Has the hook shot available, but as far as the range goes, just outside of the range. So he's not going to be able to actually retaliate here and just drop him a little bit of cash to get back up into the lane faster. Awkward spot for Lakel's.
Shenching and Banana. Not going to find anything from that, but Anti-Mage getting killed by Gyrocopter solo. So it's already 3-1 right now, and Anti-Mage dying once again, of course. Not going to do them any favors.
Yeah, and this was also ulti onto the Dragon Knight in the mid lane, get enough damage on top of him to bring him down as well. Just really, really good movement from Mu. He even was sending a Rocket Flare up top to make sure Anti-Mage got brought down, but it was sufficient for Hao's homing missile to give them the vision that they could use the Rocket Pros on top of him and bring him down. So good movement there, a lot of great kills on the board for Tongfu, and you can see that Hao's not even going for a kill-oriented build. He's going for the 1-1-4-1 build, and he'll probably put the rest in stats, so he can just do as much right-click damage to the flag cannon as possible, but even so, he's still finding a lot of kill opportunities. 2-0-0, he's dominating the kills, and there's really nothing that they have to bring to the table to stop it right now. The big thing that they need is like some really good Sand King movement, and right now he's barely not even about to hit level 4, and that's just really, really unfortunate for them.
Yep. And I hate to be pessimistic, it doesn't look good for MiTH already. They're going to go for a gank. His Shackle's not going to latch, but Mu will be burning away the mana. Just going to waltz out of there. He's not even going to bother. Korea's going to fly out stuff to him. Right now, MiTH not finding the ganks, only getting that one kill there, losing a lot of HP as well. Only that one solo kill on the... Well, it's not even a solo kill, it was split among 3. And of course, they're trialing getting absolutely decimated. Lakel's not even up at a ring of health. He can't even get his Tranquil boots up. So... yeah, looking really bad for MiTH. I hate to be pessimistic this early in the game, but this kind of lineup does need a little bit of, well, a little bit of snowballing to get the ball rolling, so to speak. But this is not good for them. And Tongfu, if they do get the level 6 fast like Magnus is, level 8 already, the RP is going to come, and the team fights are not going to be winnable for MiTH.
Yeah, good movement from the Dragon Knight though, as he is able to pop off the Green Dragon form, immediately pops the Illusion Rune, and will be able to do some damage to the tower here, but it's not really going to be enough to cause issues, and if there are some rotation TPs down bottom for that of Tongfu, they're going to be able to hold the line here. I mean, it's a level 4 Rubik Sand King and a level 7 Windrunner who's actually falling back to the mid lane to try to defend the tier 1. So at best, MiTH was looking for a trade, and they're not really getting very much about what they were intending.
Yeah, I think Magnus is going to come here with the RP skill. Is going to catch 3 of them.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be a triple kill. Yep. All 3 of them just evaporate to the RP. Rubik making a little bit of misstep there, throwing them into his own team. So a little bit of a mishap. That's like throwing Enigma into your team. Kind of something you don't want to do. And KJ picks up double for his team, and Clockwork picks up one more, 7-1 now on the board.
Absolutely. So takes that down, and that's amazing, amazing goal for them. Being able to set that up, Sven's actually going to find some relevant farm, picking up maybe Urn and Treads, and from there, you were talking about a little bit about back in around December when we saw the Magnus Fen Flavor of the Month with the Day Dallas that was way overpowered, and
Yep.
That's kind of still something that they could accomplish to some extent. Obviously, this is a supportive Sven, but enough kills on the board, you only need about like 7,000 net worth to have like a BKB Mask of Madness Treads combo, and you're just going to be able to obliterate the opposition.
Destroy.
So that's going to be really, really cool if we can get the chance to see that. Right now, starting slow at 1800, but this kill chart just keeps on going up and up and up, and it's not looking great for Mistrust.
Yep. Well, it is a best of 3 for anyone just tuning in, so there's still a chance for MiTH, but they will have to step up the game. Like I said, they are a really well accomplished team. They've been well known. They've been here for really long. Got a lot of past achievements as well in Southeast Asia, but recently not really good actually. And I can almost feel the chat asking them to disband at off this moment. So
yeah, that's, I mean, you know, that's Twitch chat for you. But in this situation, they just need to regroup. They need to try something different. I didn't really like the draft, to be honest. They put so much on the supports to get good movement, good disables, and Rubik and Sand King, they can't do all that much. Not just as the individual players, Mullah, R5 and R5, but as far as just the heroes they've selected for them. Unless they get the perfect stun combos, they don't have that much kill presence. They have some, but not something that you could compare to like a Sven Lina or, I don't know, a Shadow Demon Leshrac. I mean, things that can really bring people down very quickly. The Rubik Sand King, it's a little bit of a lackluster combo comparatively, and so they're not going to find that much of a great ramp up of their golden experience, and that for that reason they don't have as much team fight. The Magnus has his Blink Dagger King J up on the top lane. Not sure if he's going to use it to try to get a solo kill on the Anti-Mage, but we do see this big stock up. Clockwork is invis. Scouting out this smoke, we have dispelled all three, so they're all here, but they get the dust off onto Mu, trying to burst him down right now. The Burst Strike does come across. Big Chapel as well, but here's that RP. Blink Initiation, Illuminate on 2. There's the Stormbolt, there's the Skewer, locking him down, and although Dragon Knight will breathe a little bit of fire, not going to be able to get on out of this one. Now, R5 getting hit by the Cogs, needs anything else to bring him down. Within 18 HP, Moo's just going to walk on in. There's the Iron Charge, and there's the kill. So they lock down the Sand King, the Windrunner, and the Dragon Knight and all that. Rubik is quick enough to scuttle on out of there. Good movement from the Dust, but unfortunately, faster response from Tongfu. That is their Tier 1 tower still up and available, and that's map control for you. We do see a haste picked up by Lakel's. Getting caught outside the Cogs means he will be able to get out of there scot-free.
Yep, well, you mentioned something about the drafts. Mistrust at this point, well, I would like to call it, but I think it looks pretty over to me because the Tongfu is full of snowballing heroes. You have Clockwork. Once he gets up that certain level, you can't really kill him because he gets tanky. The armor gain, the agility gain that Ice Rock gave him a couple of, in the latest version, did make him really tanky as well. When he gets up his items, he has the Barrier Assault, the Power Cogs lasting for so long in the fights. Ooh. And of course, Magnus getting his RP and Dagger so early in the game. It's really hard for MiTH to even do anything. They don't have any game-breaking team fight combos. R5 does have Epicenter, but it's at level 4 right now, so he doesn't even have it. And you said something about the draft. Like I said, I don't think a Sand King was the best pick here. Rubik, yes, of course, very necessary, but Sand King, I would have preferred a Kotl instead.
Yeah, it's kind of limited here. And in this position, I mean, like, it's kind of like that old school, we saw Tidehunter all the time as a support, but then there were times where he got shut down and never found levels, and with a Tidehunter without a Ravage is useless. In this situation, you kind of can say the same thing about the Sand King. The Burrow Strike is okay, but it's nothing compared to what Sven, Clockwork, Magnus bring to a team fight. So comparatively speaking, the Sand King doesn't really offer anything. And that's somewhat comes down to the draft, somewhat comes down to their general intentions with their solo lanes, where Windrunner and Dragon Knight, they can split push pretty well, they can do really cool utility maneuvers with long duration disables, but it's single target, it's not AoE centric. And
Dragon Knight on the Ancients, it is die Ancients.
Oh wow, Mu finding it out. Good Observer Ward usage, goes in with the hook shot, gets the Cogs, really nice play there. So yeah, Mu finding that opportunity, and that's all about this Observer Ward they dropped on down. Not in a conventional place, it's not up on the high ground here, but gives even better vision for Mu to try to pick somebody off in that circumstance.
Yeah, when a Clockwork kills your solo mid DK, 14 minutes in, solo kill as well, it's not looking good for you at all.
Absolutely. Interesting usage of Sven's skill build, going in for a maxed Warcry. Really want that armor buff as well as the movement speed to be available as readily as possible. So 16 bonus armor is pretty insane, and in this situation it means that even if there was a team fight, there's not that much damage that could go on out, especially with no epicenter. The physical damage is going to be all mitigated, and in this position, it's just looking more and more grim. Very bleak for them at this stage in the game.
Yep. Anti-Mage still trying to find as much farm as he has. He does have his Perseverance as well as Tranquil, but still, he's sitting at very little net worth. Well, 3 heroes up above him, he's the top of the team. Savan's very close to him as well, the support Savan, taking only 30 last hits.
One thing Tongfu, I feel, can do, obviously they're playing an amazing game, but I was about to say they can drop down a little bit more of aggressive warding in the Dire jungle as well, so that they can make sure they have control over that. They do have a good one in this position, going up the steps. Anybody entering from that perspective will be dropped down pretty quickly, but otherwise they're going to have to keep on spamming Rocket Flare in the jungle to make sure things are going to work out for them. Anyways, they go ahead and take this tier 2. Recall on the Clockwork, they bring him in to get a hookshot on the Sand King. He burrows out, but unfortunately for him, they're still going to be able to get the kill with the Illuminate. So big damage comes on through, earning up. They're ready to go for this tier 3 high ground, and that's an impressive 15, not even 16 minutes in the game that they're able to actually start chipping away at this tier 3 tower. And with the Illuminate, they can still keep this up. The next creep wave will come on through, and Banana should be able to burn down the Dire creep wave. So in this position, without an epicenter, with the power shot being their only main counter push, they could actually force the high ground here.
Yep, and DK is sitting at less worth than Banana on the support Kotl.
Wow.
he just took the Illuminate to the face and lost about 1/3 of his health.
So chipping away
he's
at
trying
this
to get as
tower
much
gradually.
farm as he can get.
That's 1,000 HP on a tier 3 tower this early in the game. It's going to be rough. Lakelz has his Perseverance. He is going to be picking up that Claymore pretty soon so that he can build up the Battle Fury, but it's still a bit of a ways off. And even when he has the Battle Fury, he is kind of pinned in right now. He doesn't get the chance to just go ahead and farm up stacked jungle camps and look at the Ancients and flash farm creep waves and such. He will have mobility, and he will be able to blink around a lot, but the warding will get more and more aggressive coming out from Tongfu, and they'll be able to just completely take control of this jungle to the point that the Battle Fury will only help so much. And we do see a nice Moo initiation. Should be able to bring down Mullah here. All he needs is one right click, and yeah, the cogs not going to break out just yet. So cages him on in. That is a maxed out cogs, a full 8-second duration.
Yeah,
you're not going to get out of that.
To climb over those. Yeah, he was like slamming his head against the wall.
Exactly.
He was really desperate, of course, if you look at the hero levels. Yeah. Level 6 on Rubik versus a level 13, so double leveling him. And SD's in trouble here, Clockwork's gonna find him.
Yeah, Clockwork does try to get a little bit of cog action on him. He's going to bottle up as best he can, but still taking a lot of hits here. Clockwork won't have the hookshot to actually close the distance, but he has drums. He could go for battery assault drum and get right on top of him. However, there is going to be the shackle shot coming out. It's enough to mini stun. Now they turn around with the Dragon Tail, but here's that skewer, forcing him to go into the eastern juncture here, and not really a good spot for him, as now he is delayed long enough that this hookshot will be able to close the distance. We do see Sven actually getting a stun out onto, it looks like Windrunner, and where's the hookshot? Looking for it, onto Dragon Knight, will connect, and that should be a kill on both of them. Windrunner falls up on top there, and Dragon Knight is cogged in and will fall himself. So really, really good movement across the map. They're pretty much spreading their forces a little bit, 2 on one, 3 on the other, but they do, in the end, pick up both of them. And this kill advantage just keeps on rolling. Now, Lakelz hasn't died recently, but he's always on the run, and that means his farm is still falling behind.
Yep. Like I said earlier, MiTH Trust, they have to look for the openings, get up the crucial level and start the split pushing. But when you're pinned down like this, losing all your tier 2 towers, then Tongfu just bang into your front door. You can't really look for any split pushing right now. Anti-Mage does try a little bit, but he doesn't have Battle Fury. And even if he does, he's still only at the Tranquils, not hitting that fast. He doesn't even have the Calling Blade to go into the jungle to farm up. And, well, Tongfu is going to go for the middle lane once again.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have the opportunity. The Keeper Light's on their side, and they do have the flak in. They can burn down the creep wave extremely quickly, and then it's just them versus the tower and 5 heroes, which honestly is a matchup they're comfortable with. A lot of people consider this kind of a big tower to be like a 6v5, but going on in, we do see Moo is fearless underneath it, goes in for the cogs, brings down that Dragon Knight, and of course, as broke as he is, he doesn't even have enough money for a level 9 buyback. So he's just going to be sitting down in timeout session for about 25 more seconds while this tier 3 drops down.
And even the Rex, I feel.
Yeah.
Sunshine has got strength. So are they gonna pop it? Not even gonna bother, just gonna casually right click this while MiTH Trust tries to deal with the creeps.
Yeah, interesting position from Sunshine. He did pick up a couple of components for his Black King bar, now coming back on in. Moo's actually going to go and try to counteract what's going on for the anti-mage up on top. Doesn't have the ultimate, so he's not going to try to hook for it. Just going to counter push and make sure that they can take a free racks of free tier 3 and not even lose one single tower.
Yep. And, well, Tongfu putting the fun in anti-fun. That's all I can say right now.
And it looks like Clock's going for a pipe.
Yeah, at this point, anything he gets is pretty much... Even he could have gone for a Dagon and it would have worked because he's such a high level advantage.
Yeah.
So if you just went in there, they're gonna use Dagon on support like Sanking, who has completely given up on his epicenter. Not even picking it up, he goes for 3-3 instead of the 3-2-1. So
exactly. Lakelz looking for big blocks on Banana. He actually is getting the blocks off. They're going to get ready for the Burrow Strike. They do. Really good play by Lakelz, setting it up so they can get this kill. But here comes the RP. Is going to go right on top of Lakelz. No, they just stun him with the Sven, and they do bring him down in time. Looking for a TP. Will they get the skewer on the high ground? No, they didn't see it. He was just barely out of vision, and he's able to get out of vision of the Observer Ward as well as those in the low ground. Just the tiniest little spot for him to try to get on out of there. But we see the hook shot on mid. TNK locked in place. Big shockwave to finish him off, and now Banana looking for SD. Not going to be able to get any much out of him. But was that the... Yeah. Actually, the Keeper Light survived through that, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't die there because there was not enough damage in the Mana Void to bring him down, and the quick mech charge come out from Banana.
Wow.
Saving his life there. And of course, I'm surprised MiTH Trust didn't call GG earlier. There's a GG now. They should have called it earlier, save some of their stamina for game 2. This game was long dead. So they did try to drag something that was impossible to come back from,
Yeah.
and it might actually cost the next game, affect the next game as well. That's the advantage of having best of threes. You don't want to spend too much time. If the best of one, the first game isn't going too well, maybe go into game 2, rethink your strategy, and just go for something better. Well, Tongfu having a very easy game 1 here, 21 minutes, and this is over. We're having a lot of quick games today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I watched the orange one as well. They didn't survive very long game 1.
Yeah, a lot of pressure comes in, and there's just kind of the situations. A lot of especially the make or break lineups, it's like if you go a little bit too late game reliant, then you're going to be forced really, really quickly, and they're going to push hard against you. And if you go for not late game enough, then you get to a point where you're hitting a brick wall, and if you're not taking the early mid game by storm, then you know that inevitably the carries will be too strong for you to deal with. So in either case, not going very, very long here, but we do see that Tongfu just completely rolls on over Mistrust. But yeah, there was nothing really that Mistrust could do. With all their advantage, they had the great team fight presence, they had great initiations by Mu. He's definitely my MVP here. The Clockwork being able to just jump across the map and lock so many people down, totaling up for, 11 of their 18 kills as far as kills and assists. And yeah, he picked up also a pipe, which I love against Sand King, because even if Sand King got the perfect epicenter right in the middle of everyone, pipe would completely nullify it. Be like, okay, well, shrugging it off, we don't have to worry about the earthquake underneath our feet, because we can just go ahead and put a sword in your head. So that's going to be what they accomplish here. Tongfu taking down Mistrust in game 1, and now we're going to be looking at game 2 of this best of 3 series to see if Myth can pull it back, or if it's going to be just a 2-0 swing, 2-0 shutout, because just Tongfu looking really, really strong right now.
Yep, and yeah, Mistrust. Like I said, they have to actually step it up. They have been playing a little poorly recently. We're gonna see if they can pull any strats if they actually want to make it. I'm not so sure. Are they in the qualifiers?
Are you talking about the Eastern qualifiers?
Yeah, the Eastern qualifiers. I'm not so sure if they're in there. But if they are, they will have to work on a lot of practice right now. So they are looking good. Tongfu looking strong. They are, of course, invited to the TI3, and we are seeing why they are. And now we're going to go to game 2. And if you guys, stay tuned on BTS 2, and we'll be back soon.
Sure enough. So thanks for tuning on in. Again, this is Blaze and Lysander Zenora, and we'll see you guys on the next game. Thanks for tuning in.